The views and opinions expressed on Live at the Barbershop are entirely those of the host, guest, and caller and do not reflect the opinions of Live at the Barbershop or its staff. Viewers' discretion is advised. The following podcast is intended for mature audiences only and contains adult contents, graphic language, strong sexual content, and a whole lot of shit talking. So in other words, get your kids out the room.
Live, here we go at the Barbershop with your hosts, Misha J, Aaliyah, Black Republican, and those two crazy Caribbean guys from the Q&N show, Norris and Q. And now, the man of the hour, Mr. HNIC, Mr. Sleep When You're Dead, Hustle Now, the magnificent.
Yo, son. What's up with all that?
I was just trying to amp it up, you know, like...
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, I'm all right, I'm with that.
John, live at the Barbershop Podcast.
Yes. Hello. We're back again. Friday night, live at the Barbershop. Shop is wide open. Tonight, we have two special guests.
Yeah.
Oh, I have been waiting on this for quite a while. I have a few people that have been hitting me up. Hey, when are we going to get the lawyers in here? When are we going to... Calm down. It's about to happen. It's here today.
Yeah.
So, we're going to be answering a lot of questions pertaining to child support, divorce, family law, little things like that. But I'm going to warn everyone tonight, this is not bashment time. Okay? Yeah. It's not the time to take your frustrations out for what your lawyer didn't do. These lawyers are good friends to the show, a good friend of mine, and they're here to assist. Now, try and remember also, every state, the law changes for each and every state. Yeah. So if any questions are asked tonight, if you're not in the state of Florida, things may be a little different wherever you're calling from or wherever you're from, question-wise.
And if you have a friend who is going through this situation at the moment, maybe it's the right time to just call them up.
Yeah, tell them to call up.
Yeah, you can
call them to call up.
Yeah.
So, again, let me reiterate, this is not bashment time. This is the time to get some answers to any questions you may have. If you're about to go through a divorce, you're dealing with child support, you're about to get, served with child support, something, anything of that nature, here's the time to do it. Phone number to the shop, 954-998-6564. Once again, 954-998-6564. Yeah. All right. So without further ado.
And the brothers, you come out. We want to see some brothers out tonight, man. Pick up that phone, man.
I think Q got a few questions too. Let's make it happen. Okay. Without further ado, I am your host for the night. My name is John. Next to me is my man Q. Yo, Q. How you do?
What's up, man? We're back in the shop, man. It's beautiful. And it's a good night tonight.
I know it's good for you. Good. I know it's good for you. Free legal services. Okay. All right. Next up, Sassy. Sassy is in the building. Wagwan.
Sassy is here on time and prepared. I have my questions ready for the attorneys. I'm ready to go. Let's go.
You must be light-skinned tonight. She's not coming on CP time. It's only us light-skinned people come on time.
It's a beautiful background too.
Yeah, I see that. Okay. Next up the bat. Aaliyah is in the building. Aaliyah. Wagwan.
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing today?
Yeah, early happy birthday, madam.
Happy birthday, Aaliyah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, all diva out. Okay. Let's make it happen. So, without further ado, drum roll, please, and may I get my little intro, please, IT guy. Hey, make it happen, man. You're already behind time. So let me introduce them. This is how we have to introduce them. The royalty. Okay. So, first up to bat, Hilary Creary from Jam 1. Okay. Next up is Gayle Sarju, also from Jam 1. Yes, we have to
welcome.
Royalty. Oh, yes. Are we going to hear that part?
That's my song.
Let me get that one part, then we come off. Okay. All right, DJ, cut it. I don't want to pay no royalties.
You got your lawyers in the house. They could set you up nice.
Good night.
Miss Sassy.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
All right. So let me just go through some of the credits and the accolades for each lady tonight. So, Hilary Creary, raise your hand, please, so the audience can see who you are. There you go. Okay. First of all, let's let everyone know these ladies are from Jam 1. Okay. All that don't know, that means they're from Jamaica. Okay. So I would give you my best Beanie Man impression, but I'll leave that to Q. Okay. So they both practice family law. Okay.
Yes.
Both have a BA and a JD. Now, when I first saw JD, I thought you meant Jermaine Dupri, but I wasn't too sure. But they both have a JD. Okay. Now, Hilary, you have your degrees from Nova.
That is correct.
And Gayle, you have yours from Michigan University. FAU. Am I right?
FAU and
Okay.
Western Michigan.
Right.
School.
Okay, Western Michigan. Now, Miss Creary, I found something very interesting for you. You said you have a philosophy of life. Now, the pronunciation for it is Tikkun.
It's Hebrew and it's Tikkun Olam. And basically it means that your purpose in life is to heal the world. One situation, one person, 1 minute at a time. And that's my translation of it. Literally, it's about doing acts of kindness to heal the world. And so I translate that philosophy in my life into my practice of law.
That's very interesting because, unfortunately, I'm not saying you guys, but lawyers do have a bad rap for being very money hungry and not giving out the correct services. So I would like to say it is a very humbling thing to hear you say that. Yeah. Because I know for me, looking for legal services, just hearing that alone, you're my lawyer. You're my lawyer.
Yeah.
Well, I believe that, and Tabby Smiley, I don't know if you remember, but Tabby Smiley said one time about finding purpose, that when all of your education and training and life experience confronts a person who has a problem that you can solve, that's when you figure out what your true purpose is. And for me, the practice of law and the combination of my philosophy on life, when those two things combine, I figured out that my purpose was to serve my community and provide representation to everybody, whether they can afford me or not. Yeah. So that's what I do.
That's a beautiful thing.
Hey, I got
very beautiful thing.
That is.
I think I got a lawyer now.
Get your retainer fee ready, Q.
Miss Gayle Sarju. Okay, I found it very interesting for you now. Now we do know that you give back. Well, first of all, let me ask you a question because you're a member of the Caribbean Bar Association.
Correct.
So, Miss Creary, are you also a member of that bar?
Yes, I have been since it was started, and in fact, Gayle and I served on the board together last year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we did.
I would like to peek through the curtains and see that bar association party because
you can get a little fun.
The word Caribbean bar, those two things I know is a nice combination. But for Gayle, now I found it interesting that one, I know you you're a very spiritual person, so that's another thing, and Miss
Right.
Creary as well. But I found it interesting you give back also to different organizations as well, outside
Right.
of the legal services, as far as giving back to your community.
Yeah.
Right.
If you want to speak on that just a little bit.
Well, I mean, I just honestly feel that as a human being, without being a lawyer, I just have a heart for service. It's just natural to me to do anything that is service oriented. And I think I spoke briefly with you regarding being a guardian ad litem. And sometimes, uh, that particular volunteer work that I do has nothing to do with me being a lawyer. Anybody could do it. You don't have to be a lawyer to do it. And I volunteer with children, in Hendry County, and I know it's not Broward or whatever. I just really wanted to deal with children who are in foster care, who are in a rural area that I just felt that maybe many people wouldn't want to go to. And that was just, somehow it's just something that just really pulled on my heart. I remember driving to work down the 95 one morning, and I'm like, I feel that my purpose has to do with children. And so, yes, I have a job, I have to make a living, but I had to do something pertaining to kids. And I picked up the phone and called the 20th Circuit, the Guardian Ad Litem department, and I told the woman, I'm driving to work, but I feel that, this is part of my purpose, and I want to help children in the rural areas. And so,
yeah, that's
yeah,
spiritual.
that's
When the
one
Lord,
of them.
That's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
when the Lord leads, it's spiritual.
Yes.
Q look like he's kind of puzzled because he's saying, which one do I choose?
No.
So now tonight we're gonna tackle a few things. So now on the table, it's a thing called DCF. Not your regular DCF situation. When we break it down, it's divorce, child support, fractured families. Okay, that's our DCF. Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna break it down in a few different layers. Now, a few people text me and gave me a few of their questions that they want to ask. Okay, first thing up the bat, what do I look for when I'm looking for a lawyer, whether it be for divorce or child support? What's the criteria that they should look for in a lawyer?
Who do you want to answer the question?
My bad.
I mean, it's kind of difficult to answer on being on this side of it, but really, I think they should probably have a consultation maybe with a couple people. It's really important that you feel you speak to people and develop a level of trust. You will know if you have a connection with an attorney, when you speak, sometimes to multiple people. I was in a meeting this morning with another attorney, and it was a conversation that came up that when she explained, in her case, it was a criminal case, and she explained what she needed to do to help the person, and he felt that her fee was a little too high. So what he did, he called around, and then he came back to her and he told her, listen, I came back to you. Yes, your fee was a little higher, but everybody's charging me and just tell me, yes, we're going to win. And you tell me both sides of the coin. You told me, okay, here is our strengths and here are the weaknesses. And, I cannot promise you the outcome, but I'll do my best to get you there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you have to speak to people and you will know, who is authentic for you and who you mesh with.
I think also beyond that, you need to be mindful that no lawyer should ever guarantee you the results.
True. Exactly.
So if you have somebody who you are doing an interview with and they tell you they can guarantee the results, or they tell you, we all have education and experience to different degrees, and we'll put all of that to work for you. But at the end of the day, any lawyer that says, I promise you this is going to be the outcome, run as far as you can. Right. And then if they tell you things like, oh, it's not going to be a problem, I know the judge. You need to run away from those people too. So the thing is, most people now, well, the generation that came after me, they do make those decisions based on online presence and what they can do in terms of research. So my suggestion to anybody who's about to hire a lawyer, do your research. First of all, you can go to, in Florida anyway, you go to the state bar. So let's say in Florida, you go to the Florida bar and you put the person's name in the search and you can tell their discipline history. So that's important. Have they been sanctioned by the bar in the past? It's not necessarily, an indication that you shouldn't trust that lawyer, but at least you'll be informed and you'll be making an informed decision. So do your research before you hire somebody. And as Bill said, talk to them, because sometimes they may be skilled, but something about the personalities don't clash or the trust isn't there. I also am a fan of cultural relevance. I'm sorry to say that out loud, but I am a fan of making sure that the person that you're giving your hard-earned money to understands who you are. Yes. I think that's crucial.
Yes.
Or maybe it's because I've been doing this for so long that I know I've seen folks being represented by people who have no idea who they really are.
That's true.
Or treats them according to the value that they truly bring to the table. And sometimes, Gail and I can tell you, because we talk about these things, that it's unfortunate, but it's the reality. So there are folks who think they have to hire a lawyer that looks a certain way or has a certain kind of name or, is recognized in certain circles. Yeah. And that's wonderful. And if you can do that, go ahead and do that. But make sure that you're treated with respect by that person.
Okay.
That's true. The thing that you spoke about. Go ahead.
I was going to piggyback off of something that Hilary said about culture. And that is very important. And just even for little nuances. For example, I was my client was being deposed. We were in a deposition and they asked him a question and he said, a couple times. And so, in America, a couple means two. Well, he's Jamaican, I'm Jamaican. I know that for Jamaican people, couple could mean many. So I waited until the deposition ended because I'm like, oh my God, I know it's not two times. It was more than two. I knew that what the answer should be. And so I was able to come back and rehabilitate him by asking when you said two, did you when you said a couple, did you mean American couple as in two, or did you mean two? Was it more than two? And I was able to, and it was because I was Jamaican that I understood, because otherwise it would look like he was lying. And here it is, we have a deposition transcript with him saying a couple meaning two when it was more than two. So even for simple things, but we know what our people mean when they say stuff.
And it is important too, especially if you're doing work where the issue is whether or not somebody's being abused, a child is being abused. Well, I'm from Jamaica, so we discipline our children a little differently. But as long as you don't abuse them, right? So when you're, again, that's a cultural reference, right? So I'm a firm believer in making sure that the person who is in control of your case and in control of the outcome of your case understands your culture.
Right.
That's definite. I do want to agree with you on the fact of doing your research on the lawyer. I actually went through that and found out the hard way that I had I don't know the best term to put the person, but but it was a list.
Remember your disclaimer, Mr. John. It's not lawyer bashing night.
But everyone know me, and I like to keep it real. That's so it's hard. So here's the thing with it. And I'm telling everyone this. Yes, you can go off of references from friends and stuff like that, but still do your research. Because I got referred to a lawyer from a friend. The friend said, yo, killed it. He killed it for me. He killed it. I said, oh, well, if he killed it for you, he can kill it for me. Oh, yeah. He killed it. Not in a good way, though. So I don't even think I met this guy yet.
Wow.
So that's the thing with it. Got the money and ran. So that's something where I would tell everyone, do your research. Like she said, Go to the Bar Association, plug that name in, and you can see, like I did also, I saw all the comment from previous clients he had, you know, and they spilled the beans on everything. And it's like, it just was like, oh man, that's me right there. So I would tell everyone, yeah, do your research. Okay, the next question I had also, well, hold up. Q's, go ahead. Sassy, what you
wanted to say something? Sassy.
I was saying Q.
Okay, let's see. So we're dealing with divorce. So prenuptials, prenup agreements. How valuable are they?
Very, very valuable. But they're valuable if you have a lot of assets that you need to protect. And so, in fact, I was just dealing with a case with that, where the couple decided that if they ever file divorce, neither side would ask. I mean, there would be no alimony. Well, when you're going into a marriage and you've got stars in your eyes, right? And you're the one making, $200,000 a year, and the other person is making $13 an hour, right? You're thinking it's going to be forever, but you signed that prenup because it's going to last forever. And then one day you're confronted with a situation where you've been married for 30 years. You signed a prenup that says you're waiving alimony, you're still making $13 an hour, or even worse, you've now become a housewife and you haven't worked in 20 years, right? And you have waived your alimony rights. Now, there are certain ways to get around it, but be careful what you sign. But prenups can be valuable for the person who's got the assets, right? Because you're protecting it. But you also have variations. Like, we have to stay married for 5 years. At the end of 5 years, you get X dollars. Okay. And if you stay married for 10 years, you get X dollars. So, it serves its purpose.
That's called a Janet Jackson prenup.
But I wanted to make up one point about the prenup.
JJ.
Go ahead.
And the Jordan, Michael Jordan.
No, that's he said Michael Jordan, but no, that's the Janet Jackson. Oh. I don't know if anyone heard of it, but Janet Jackson, like, it was like the day of, like, she's filed for divorce. Okay. Once she knew it was that time, done. Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to say one thing about prenup.
Go ahead.
Sometimes people think that you just sign the prenup and that's it. But beyond that, if you start commingling things, you sign a prenup, you have your separate account, then you start transferring money on a monthly basis into this joint account. You've now commingled and you've turned some of that stuff now into marital. And just assuming that, oh, well, we signed a prenup. No, that money is marital money. So it's beyond signing the prenup. It's how you conduct yourself after.
Okay. I heard that, Q.
And the key to a good prenup is that it has to be detailed and specific. Right. You can't just say my bank account. It has to be specific, because if you're married for 20 years, your bank account is going to change. You're going to have more bank accounts, fewer bank accounts, bigger bank accounts. So you have to be as specific as you can be. If you're trying to protect assets, it works, especially for folks who are in their second marriage and they've already accumulated stuff. If you're getting married straight out of high school or college, you got nothing anyway.
Exactly.
So a prenup doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But if you're on your second or third marriage and by now you've accumulated assets and you want to protect them, but again, there are ways around that too. So everything's negotiable.
So now, let me ask you now, in a situation like that, like you said, so now I'll use Q as an example. So if Q start commingling, okay, that don't mean go to the club. So if Q start commingling some of his stuff there, and, let's say a 5-year span pass and he's not paying attention and he realized now, say, oh my gosh, I done put about 30,000, 40,000 in this person's thing. Can he go and do the agreement, or is it a done deal from the first time he did it to now?
I think he's asking about a post-nup, Hilary.
Well, there's a prenup and then there's an antenup, right? So you can do a follow-up agreement. That's also enforceable, but it's going to be by agreement. So if you're at the point where you are not getting along, You tell me what you think the odds are that you're going to be able to do that. And the women in the room are smart enough to be shaking their heads, so you may keep on nodding.
Yeah, we're outnumbered. Yeah. Telling you, I know that. Okay.
And here's a wonderful thing in Florida anyway. You enter into, let's say you decided to get divorced. There's no prenup, but you enter into a settlement agreement.
Yeah.
And then you decide to reconcile. And then you decide to break up again a year later. The agreement you entered into the first time is still enforceable. But you didn't know that.
Oh, it doesn't lapse?
It doesn't lapse, no.
That's
when you
good
get
to
back
know.
together, that agreement is a separate contract and it's entirely enforceable.
Wow, good to know.
Now, for me, a lot of females that I talk to, they say I'm cold-blooded because I keep telling them that, this marriage thing is a business. That's just how I view it. It's a business. I see all the females always do that, but it is a business. At the end of the day, it's a LLC.
Maybe it's because no dudes are out there divorcing.
No. It's not the fact that no dudes are divorcing. It's the fact that dudes are getting punched in the wallet, and dudes now.
Hello, women pay alimony too, baby.
But it's not as much. It's not as common as men.
Yeah, that's not entirely true.
Not
necessarily true at all.
But I could take you to my block. Because on my block, there's a lot of brothers out here, and they're looking flustered right now. They're like, man.
Well, here's the thing. I don't necessarily think of it as a business, but you got to be smart, especially if you're not getting married when you're 18 and you're in love. Listen, marry for love the first time, right? Get it out your system, and then marry and be smart the second time. Is what I'm saying. So smart.
The first time is for love. The second time is for.
Wait.
Just be wiser the second time around.
The second time around, be smart about it, right?
That's the thing. The second time around, yes.
Okay.
Now we're still dealing with the first time because here's the deal.
Okay. The in-love part, yeah.
We're outnumbered. There's a few guys in here with us, but we're outnumbered right now as far as on the screen. Okay. So here's the deal. Most time when guys, all right, these are how male and females differ. Females, they go in with a strategy. You understand? They have a strategy. They know the game plan. They know what's the deal. They know what they want.
Guys go in there.
Like guys look at a Coca-Cola shape, and then they plan everything else around that. And that's the problem. And that's why I try to educate a lot of them that don't look at the facade. Understand who the person is, and then figure out everything else after that. Because the problem with it now is that they get jammed up when they just look at this. You understand?
But we all learned the hard way.
See, Q got caught up. And you see how he stuttered just now? Well, we all learned the hard way.
He had to start somewhere.
But you know, the thing is, there's some people who, marry for love and stay married 30, 40, 50 years like my parents did. Mm-hmm. I tell you what, I think there was a generation of people that came maybe before us, certainly before me, that we didn't ever leave. They didn't divorce as much, right?
Right.
And I think back then it's because women didn't have as many choices to be independent and survive financially anyway. Right. In my mother's time, right? Mm-hmm. I think women of our generation and your generation, because you're all younger than I am, you have options. You can earn a living. You can be independent. You can spend your own money. Mm. And so the need to stay in a relationship forever, I think those days are gone.
Wow.
I think because women now have choices. So if you're not playing this right, she don't have to stay with you.
That's true.
Not like my mother's era where they stayed anyway.
Yeah.
I think now women are independent. They have their own money. They have their own careers. They can even take care of their children by themselves.
Pause for a minute. But they're still lonely.
What I got to do with marriage?
But I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. I'm sorry.
I get it. I
What
get
are you talking
that.
about?
But the problem with it, with all of this, is that okay? The family breaks up, and then they're lonely. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
can we just?
Well, you just said it's a business. Which is it?
No, but
Is it about companionship or is it a business?
I get that part, but I'm talking for all the females that I hear that's always giving me all the different things. A lot of them, like you said, I have options now. I don't have to deal with all that. But then at the end of the day now, I can't find somebody.
Well, I think there are lots of good men out there who can't find good women either. You know,
Right.
Who said facts?
I'm sorry too.
Yeah.
That was
I'm
Jan
sorry, but I
Wade.
wanted to rewind just a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm hearing this conversation, but I wanted to just touch back base about the commingling.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I need to catch up as well. But in a marriage, say there's no prenup, and you were previously married, you have a property, you have a house. Your house is your premarital home. It's not a marital asset, right? So as long as you don't, you can sell that house and do whatever else with the money, buy another property, and it's still premarital, unless again you commingle it. You would take that money and deposit into some joint account or so on, then you might have an issue.
Yeah, gotta split it.
That's right.
My situation?
Yeah. All right. So here's the deal. This is very sensitive. I want everyone to just take it easy on Q, and don't. It's very sensitive. I might get. There's no lotion in here, but
Q's laughing.
it's so sensitive. So now with Q,
yeah.
I would like to ask a legal question. So now, and I'm not putting your business out, but
No, there is no business.
But
it's
Q-
it's real.
Q was recently served in church. so let me ask a question now. Is that even? Well, is it even
What do you mean served?
or served?
You mean like a process server or sheriff came
Yeah.
up and handed him the pleadings?
Yeah, this is the.
But the
divorce.
ex-wife served him. He's being very delicate. I'll say it.
What do you mean the ex-wife
You must have
served
been hiding. Were you hiding from the process server?
No, not really. I think.
Not,
No.
whoa, you're Jamaican.
No.
Don't say not really. You see the yes or no.
No. This was done through the court by her, so there is no fight. There is nothing to fight about. So it's a paper from the court. I don't think she wants to use a lawyer because I had really said I'm in no problem, no fighting. You just do and I'll do my thing. We separate. It's an agreement. But she's so mad with me, she took it to church, with a pen and handed it to me.
Oh, she served you. Okay.
That's not service.
That's not service.
That's not even legal service.
You're not served.
No,
You're not
served.
officially served. You're not served.
Okay.
Tear it up and throw it, eh?
Yeah, you're not served. Nothing happened. None of it ever happened. It's all in your head.
Yeah. So it's like,
I hope you didn't sign it.
no.
Good for you. I mean, it might be that there's no problem with whatever is in it.
Yeah.
But you can't, people always say they can't afford a lawyer. You can't afford not to have a lawyer check it for you.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. It's like a mutual agreement. I have to talk to her. She's not talking to me, but to get somebody relate to her what I'm not.
You need a mediator.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a mediator.
Yes, we both are.
We both are.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's just like that, but she's just acting crazy. I have it for like 3 weeks. It's sitting in my truck. So
Can I piggyback on that?
Yeah.
I'll give an example. I don't know if you guys know the story of Warren Buffett, but his first wife, they were married basically until her death in 2004 or so. They had never divorced, but they had lived separately since about 1978 or so.
Wow.
And he had a girlfriend that she introduced him to. She wished them well, but they just never separated. Well, they never divorced. Let me say they never legally divorced. Is there any risk in being married for decades, but not living together, you know, and not divorcing, but being separate?
That was also my case too. It's almost 1 year and 4 months.
You
Well,
counting, huh?
exactly the same as 30 years separate and apart. Because here's the thing: you're either married or you're not, right?
Yeah.
In the state of Florida, and again, let me talk about Florida because I don't know other states may recognize common law marriage. There's no such thing here in Florida, right? So, let's say in some places, the girlfriend, if she's been living with him for 30 years, if something happens to him, she's gonna have a claim based on the fact that they have this long term. But in the state of Florida, you're either married or you're not.
Yeah.
And so, if you live apart for 20 years, you're still married. Now, if you buy a house during that time, you're still married.
Okay.
And if you buy a car during that time, you're still married. So all your assets that you've been accumulating for that 20 years, you're not married to this person, you're giving them a gift of 50% of your assets. Why would you want to do that?
Marital property.
Divorce as soon as you know it's done. If you have done everything you can to save your marriage and you're moving apart, get it over with. Because the longer you linger, is the more of an asset you're giving the other side.
And not just that, you might put yourself in a position to pay alimony.
That's correct.
And,
for a long-term
everything from the date of the marriage until the date that somebody files for divorce, it's marital assets, marital liability, whether you know or not that this person has a credit card. It's, you know.
That's the can we talk about the liabilities? Some of the liabilities.
Yes,
as far as
loans.
Student loan that I racked up after I left you. Sorry, but you owe me $50,000.
Wow.
Yeah, get divorced.
Yes.
Wow.
Do everything you can to save your marriage, but when it's done, walk away.
Yeah.
And you know, one other thing, there's a probate element to it. And if I'm not a probate attorney, so I'm making my disclaimer, but I went to a couple of those classes. You know, I've done a couple probate cases, but generally it's not my practice. And you know, there were some classes, a kind of boot camp offered by the probate judges of Broward at Nova a couple of years, and I went 2 years in a row. And one of the things that I learned was that, based on my understanding, if you're married to someone, and you know, if you're separated and you don't know where the person is, and you have a property that's your homestead property, that person, they have to find that person, because that person has a life estate in your property, or they have the option of having a life estate or a 1/3 share.
Wow.
I've been contacted by people who never got divorced, and the other side has children or whatever, and during that separation period, and then they pass away, and then the kids show up and they want to take your house, and they can do that because it's still a marital asset.
It's still married, yeah. So
wow.
Yeah.
I know we're supposed to talk about child support.
Yeah, we're gonna go there. I can't recall which one of you mentioned something about credit card, because that I have a situation like that. She has a credit card that is in my name with a debt on it, so that's
you're making lawyers are not supposed to give advice over specific facts.
Okay.
Generally, so if you want to talk to one of us, call us privately.
Yeah, we have the number.
Situation might be different than everybody else's, so we don't want to make a general statement and be wrong.
Okay.
So call us and we'll talk to you privately about that. But credit card debt that was racked up during the marriage, from the date you married to the date you file, and then there are some assets that you consider as of the date of filing, and there's some from date. I mean, very rarely there are some things that the court will consider from date of separation, but mostly it's date of filing. Okay. So if you're in the interim where you've been separate for 2 years, and that person racked up $10,000 worth of credit card debt while you're still married and you haven't filed yet, congratulations, you now owe half.
Wow.
I'm gonna do it. Okay, I will do it like Callie
in Florida.
Congratulations, Q. You played yourself. Okay. So now, ladies on the panel, Aaliyah or Sassy, anyone has any questions as far as child support before I get into what the fellas have to say about child support? Ladies?
No. I got one more. But this is to do with the retirement your retirement funds after a divorce, do you have to update this information and let them know that you're divorced?
But see, Hilary and Gayle, these are what I said. You see the females on the panel, calculated. You see the men on the they talk about credit cards. You talk about retirement. You see the difference?
I asked no because I know someone who got divorced several years ago and passed away, and then the ex went to see about the retirement funds. Fortunately, that person had updated the fund holder. I don't know how to say it, but and let them know that they were divorced. And when he showed up, they were like, "Nope, we have documents that divorced and that's it." So you have to keep updating all of this information. Don't leave any loose ends, after the fact.
Well, there are rules. There's this thing called a qualified domestic relations order. We call it a quadro for short, right? So typically when you're getting divorced, you're entitled, each spouse is entitled to a 1/2 share of the marital portion of any retirement. So let's say you work for 20 years, but you were married for 10. The 10 years that you were married, the person is entitled to whatever you accumulated for that 10-year period, 50% of that. So the first 10 years that you weren't married, that's all you. And then just what happens is typically you're not entitled to collect it now. You have to wait till that person whose pension it is eligible to receive it. So let's say I'm divorcing you and you're 45 years old and you can't touch it till you're 67. I gotta wait 20 years to collect that, right?
Right.
So we lock in what you're entitled to as of that date. And anything that happens to that account after that date that the quadro is locked in is irrelevant to the person who's claiming it. So you finalize the number and you lock it in with that quadro.
Mm-hmm.
And so
there will be an order. That order will be filed in the court.
And that goes to the plan administrator. So the plan administrator knows that they have to make a payment to this person. There are other versions. There are 401ks that you don't have to wait on. There's just some tax consequences for 401ks. There are, all sorts of plans, investment plans and accounts that need to be, thrift savings plans are notorious. You still have to go through a quadro to get the disbursement, but it locks in the amount that you're entitled to as of that date.
As of the date of
All right. Thank you. Child support. Yes, I have child support question.
Okay, go ahead.
Sometimes I won't say females only, but sometimes the other party inflate the numbers excessively. Whereas, like, let's say they claim that they make, I don't know, $2,000 a month, but the bills altogether in support of this child is $7,000 a month. How does this even?
Yeah, you want to go first?
I don't understand. The person is earning $2,000 a month.
But they'll calculate. They say they spend $300 every month buying clothing for this child, and various things add up more than their income.
Like that.
Child support doesn't care about those numbers.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah,
not in Florida anyway.
Okay.
Right.
So in Florida, it's income and number of overnights that matter. So and the daycare and the health insurance. That's it.
Health insurance, right?
Anything beyond that is not part of the calculation.
No. So let me ask a question, because a lot of the fellas that hit me up on this now, they say, why do fathers have such a hard time either getting custody? Custody is one, and then two, have such a hard time, when it comes to the child support, the funds, because like Sassy was saying, sometimes they'll go into court and they'll hear some ridiculous stuff that it's going to take, half of his pay, the whole paycheck to take the care of this child. And he's like, what are you talking about? The child's like 2 months, like something like that. So
I think the system was designed.
So
you know what it is? And I'm going to say this and then I'm going to stop talking so Gayle can talk. You know what it is? Man to other hearing. Because they don't listen when we tell them what to do. And so they get themselves in trouble. Here's the thing that is key. And Gayle said I was going to stop talking. But this I'm passionate about educating men about this, especially our men. You are not the father till the law says you're the father. So a lot of men don't.
Unless you're married.
They talk unless you're married. So they talk about this putting me on child support nonsense. Here's the reality. If you give birth to a child, the woman that you're with gives birth to a child, and you are the biological father and you put your name on the birth certificate, congratulations. That just creates a presumption that you're the father. You're not the father yet. So you just putting on child support, step up, put yourself on child support and establish your responsibility as a father. And then they can't play with you, because what is happening is you're waiting until, let's say there's public assistance given, food stamps, Medicaid given to the mother. She has to cooperate with the Department of Revenue in order to get the public assistance. That means they're going to come after you whether she wants them to or not. She has to agree, right? Okay. So then the next thing you know, the system is going to come after you and put you on child support because they got to get their money back. Because they spent money giving you food stamps or kids food stamps. Whereas and I tell unmarried young men this all the time, don't wait till the system puts you on child support. Go down to the courthouse, declare yourself the father, get a court order so that you can control it. Because here's the thing, when you go through the Department of Revenue, they set up your child support. They don't care whether you ever see the kid or not. So all these men who are going, but I'm paying child support and she won't let me see the kid. But you don't have to. She doesn't have to. Not until you have an order that says you're the father and here is your responsibility and here are your rights. That woman can do whatever she wants because she's the only legal parent the child has. If you are not married when the child is born or conceived, that child has one legal parent and it's the mother. And that's what the law says. But I get these men who say, well, I'm on the birth certificate. It means nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah. That opened my eyes to a lot. So is it detrimental to have the DNA done?
No.
Doesn't matter?
If you think you're not the father, you should. Okay. But here's the thing. You know when they get the call to come to the hospital and you get this cute little baby and this little wiggy baby and mama's told you that it's your baby, you don't even question it because you think you're the only one, right? So then you sign the paper saying, yeah, I'm the daddy, and you think that means something. Well, it just creates a presumption that you're the father, but it doesn't make you the legal father till you get a court order from the family court or the administrative judge that says, congratulations, you're now the father.
But how can you refuse not to sign that birth certificate?
You don't have to.
You can't. You don't have to. You don't have to.
Oh, you're opening my eyes on a lot.
Just because the nose look like your nose, it doesn't mean that it's your child. So.
I mean, if on the flip side, if you're married to someone and they are, even if you're not the biological father, you are the father.
Your child. It is your child.
Any child that's born in your marriage, you are the daddy.
And that's one of the things we talk about. If your marriage is done, walk away, get married, get divorced quickly. As soon as you're sure you're ready to go, because if you stay married, if you stay married to, let's say you're a guy and you stay married to that woman and you haven't seen her in 3 years and she's got 2 other kids with some other guy, congratulations, you're still the daddy.
Yeah. Are you serious?
Yeah, because you're a husband and therefore the child is born in
you're the legal father. You're the legal father.
The husband is a legal father, whether he's a biological father or not, because the child is born to an intact marriage, because you're still legally married.
Born on your watch.
That's how it goes.
Wow. That's a jacket law.
I wanted to touch base. I wanted to touch base about I wanted to respond. Oh, sorry.
Pardon me?
When is your birthday?
My birthday is tomorrow.
Oh, my son's birthday is today. Happy birthday to my son. He turns 33 today.
Oh,
happy birthday.
Right. Thank you.
Just piggybacking off what Hilary said, the reason you don't have custody is that when that child was born, and if you are not together as a family unit in the same household, or the relationship is not intact, is because you did not make a trip to the courthouse and file a petition for paternity, to get your court order. So that's why you have no custody. About child support, it's because, and that's it. If you file for paternity and file for your time sharing to spend time with your child, then the child support will be calculated based on those number of overnights. So, you'll get hit if you sit around and wait 3-4 years, let that child support back up on you because, technically they can go back 24 months in the court. They can go back up to 24 months of child support. So if child support is to, the order is going to go in now, for example, and if they date it back 24 months from the date the petition was filed, not even 24 months from today. So then you have all that back child support. If they determine it's $300 a month, then, and you've missed 2 years or 3 years, they do $300 per month for that time period, and you have that lump sum. You now have to pay that $300 plus a percentage
of the lump sum,
an additional percentage. So, it may be another $100, $150, depending on what percentage they're charging per month.
Yeah.
So, and I think that I wrote this down that I wanted to talk about when it comes to child support. I think that, as people, we make it about us. You put me on child support. You're not seeing the kid because, you didn't pay.
Yeah.
And first of all, it's two separate issues. And, I think that we're making it about the man and the woman and not the child, right?
Yeah.
Because, how do we convince a judge that it's not in the child's best interest to get child support? How do you say, oh, well, I don't have no money this month? What does the other parent do? Well, listen, your daddy don't have any money this month, or your mom don't have any money this month. So guess what? Don't eat this month. Don't wear clothes. Don't go, you know what I mean? So I think that we need to remember that the child is the center. And also for the custodial parent, do not punish a child who has a good father. If you're the mother, do not punish the father by keeping the child away from that parent. You know what I mean? The person might be not a good relationship person for you, but a good father to that child.
And that's often how it is, though. That's often how it is. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's often how it is. It's the good fathers that are pushed away.
I know. I have them. They're my clients. I have to say this here. I'm so proud of how sincerely the fathers are about their children and how much they really want to be involved. This generation of fathers is different from prior generations of fathers that I know, because the fathers, they fight for their kids. They want to be involved in the children's lives. And I have to say, and I know as fathers should take care of their kids, but every day I'm telling men how proud I am of them and how much they fight for their children. And
absolutely. And let me clear up one other misconception. People say all the time, well, I don't want no money from him, or she don't want no money from me. Here's the deal. The child support is the absolute right of the child. It is not the parent's money. So because one parent or the other spends the majority of the time taking care of the kids, they're the holders of the money. But it is not their money. That money is the absolute right under the law of the child, and so it goes with the child. So this whole idea of I don't want his money, it's not your money to waive. That's why I tell people all the time, you can't waive child support. Parents can't waive child support. It is not your money. So there are ways to calculate the child support so it's reasonable and it's fair, but it is not your money to waive. It is the absolute right of the child to have it.
And so stop holding it against the other parent. And this idea that I'm not giving her child support, she's just doing her hair, she's just doing her nails. Listen, you do what you need to do. Keep track of what you're doing. Do what because you basically you don't want to go to the court with unclean hands. I'm not paying anything because you do what you need to do.
So
you know what I mean?
So now let me throw something, being as we're talking about good fathers, right? There's a rapper in Houston named Trey the Truth. So now his situation is a little tricky because the baby mother, I believe, used to live in Houston. Now she went to LA, and I don't know fully if she told him she was going out there, but she moved out there. So now, in order for him to visit his daughter, he has to, or pick her up, he has to go to the airport in LA, see the daughter, come for visitation, bring her back. So a lot of time it's just like, for instance, if Your local, you would go meet somewhere local, Publix. His local thing is in a totally another state. He goes to the airport, the mother doesn't show up. Okay? He flies back to Houston. And he does it was every week
Yeah.
or something like that, or every week or every other week or something like that, right? So now his lawyers, he had to hire a lawyer in LA to deal with it because the mother lives in LA. So now he has a lawyer in Houston, he has a lawyer in LA, but every time they go to court, the mother, she's not showing up or she's not complying with the courts, but there's no repercussions. There's no slap on the wrist or anything. And every guy says the same thing. If it was me, I would be under the jail already, because most guys, they know already, let you be behind or let anything like, and I'm not being biased to any females out there or anything like that. I'm just telling it like how I'm hearing it and how I've seen it and how most guys have experienced it.
Yeah.
There's something missing from the story, though. The story you just told us.
Right.
There's a lot
You know,
missing
it
legally.
sounds,
So
right.
now,
We don't know
There's a
about
lot
those.
of story that's missing.
The laws of those states, but it sounds, I don't know, but it sounds almost like a paternity case, like they were never married, and maybe she left the state.
But she's entitled to do if he's not the father legally. She can go wherever she wants. If he,
right.
In Florida, anyway. Again, I don't know about California.
Right,
California
exactly.
is a joint property state, so they're way different than we are.
And you know what happened? Because I have a client, I have a similar case, and what happened is that mother, you know, we were doing skip tracing and everything. What she did was went to another state and stayed long enough for that state now to have jurisdiction. So our Florida filing was really no good anymore, you know, because by the time we found out our date of filing, she was already in another state, because we have been looking for her all over Florida.
6 months is all it takes. If she moves to another state and she's there 6 months, that other state has jurisdiction. Unless Florida has already established jurisdiction and reserved jurisdiction, when she moves to that state,
it's a similar situation.
That's their home state.
Don't sound like that's his child.
Say again.
It don't sound like this is child.
But you know what? Sometimes, you know what? The unfortunate part is sometimes because there's a breakdown in the relationship, you know, that one parent will, you know, again, spite the father while they're hurting their child. And I say it all the time. I talk about Michelle Obama and I talk about Halle Berry. And I use those two women as examples of what a difference a father make in a daughter's lives. In a daughter's life, they're both very successful women in their own right, you know, but I feel like Michelle Obama has more confidence. It helped her pick her husband differently. You know, for example, she had Obama with all his swag, but she sent him on the basketball court to play basketball with her brother to check him out to see if he's an honest guy. You know what I mean? I think that is something that is instilled by a father. And I think fathers are important. Both parents are important in the lives of the children. And we need to start thinking about our kids and not about we need to put our beef aside and do what we need to do for our children. We're going to share grandchildren with them. We're going to go to their weddings. We're going to be at the graduation, you know, so we have to kind of take ourselves out of the equation sometimes and think about the child.
That is true.
Well said, Gil.
Yeah.
So what you're actually saying then, there's a way out from men in the courts, because most dudes have a mindset as if the courts is for the female. I will never win, and they just drop their hands and say.
I'm glad you brought that up. One of the mistakes the guys make, honestly, is going into a courtroom by themselves, and it shouldn't be a mistake. I went to court with a client once. He had a child support case that had been going on for maybe 5 years. And the judge asked me a question. And I wanted to make sure. And I said, you know what, Your Honor, I'm going to revert to I want my client to answer this question. You know, when I got in the hallway, the guy said to me, he said, Miss Sarju, I've been coming to court for 5 years and I've never been allowed to open my mouth. I've never been allowed to speak. It's the first time. You know, so I know that sometimes you try to save money. And I mean, I had a case where this guy didn't hire an attorney. He living with a woman, and the woman put him on child support. They live in the same house.
But you don't get child support while you're living together. That doesn't happen.
I know his whole income tax was being garnished. His paycheck was being garnished because somebody was getting public assistance and he wasn't aware of the system. You know what I
Wow.
mean? $24,000 later, I
Listen,
have to get
even-
reversed. You know what I
Even if
mean?
you can't, listen, men, even if you can't afford a lawyer, in the state of Florida, they have something, a way for you to get a lawyer to help you with just parts of your case. They don't have to represent you for everything. They can represent you for just the hearing, just the mediation, just the drafting of the document. So you can, if you can't afford the whole thing, and at a minimum, get a consultation. So that you know what your rights are. Lawyers like Gayle and I, we will sit with you for an hour. I don't charge for my consultations, right? So because I think the key is to educate people so you know what your rights are. Even if you don't hire me, I don't care as long as you know, walk out of my office knowing what your rights are.
I do charge because I was spending 40 hours a week just giving free consults, and then I didn't want to be homeless. So like, come on, Gayle, because it's so natural for me. It's like, oh my God, Gayle, you know. So
I don't charge for my consultations, but just because again, my mission is to educate people so that and not everybody can necessarily afford the consultation fee. But I wanted to say that, you know, the other thing that men do, and then they complain, they ignore the stuff. So you get papers from the courthouse and you don't open the envelope. Or you move and you don't tell the court, because you're supposed to, once you're in the system, you have to update your address when you move. So they're not going to track you down. They're going to send it to the last known address. And then guess what? When we go in the docket, we can see those envelopes. And the envelopes say that they were returned by the Postal Service because you don't live there anymore. It's your responsibility to answer the pleadings. And if you don't know how to answer them, go see a lawyer for, free, like me or whatever Gayle charges. Go have somebody look at the documents. But if you ignore them, they don't go away. They just get worse.
Even the courthouse. Even the courthouse have a division, a department there. You go
they
to
have
information.
The courthouse will help you.
Yeah, they will help you.
Don't ignore it. People do that all the time. We're not even going to have time to talk about domestic violence. That's a whole nother. We need to talk about that too, but we won't do that tonight.
Oh my God.
What we're gonna do then? We're gonna bring you guys back. Is what we need to do. You see how fast it went? That's what I'm trying to tell. There's so much that people want to know and need to know, because again, I think a lot of guys, they just feel beat down. Honestly, they feel beat down. And here's the thing with it. The funny thing about it, the deadbeat ones, they're having a ball. It's the good ones that are feeling beat down.
I have those good ones for my clients, so that, they need to talk to an attorney. They need to at least get a consultation, and don't throw in the towel and say, "Oh, it's because I'm a man." Or Jamaicans like to say, "America is a woman and picnic country."
But I also hear stuff like, "No judge going to tell me how I going." Oh yeah, really? No judge going to tell me how to pay child support. No judge going to tell me how much child support. No judge going to tell me when I going to see my child. Really? Yeah. Welcome to America.
I know some people that talk like that.
The court system is designed to tell you what to do.
You and Hilary know the same people.
If you can work it out amongst yourselves and you put it in front of the judge, guess what? The judge can't tell you what to do until that child is 18. That judge is in your life.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's an unfortunate thing.
And we have to talk about we have so much to talk about.
Part two.
Yes.
Part two. I know you ladies are very busy, but I would like to pencil you in for a part two. We need a part two.
Listen, it is crucial because we as parents are so clueless some of the times. When you're talking about juvenile court and you're talking about what is happening, that school to prison pipeline is alive and well. And if we don't take control of our kids, we're going to have a generation of our kids in jail. So we'll talk about that another time.
See, here's the thing, and the beautiful thing about what we accomplished tonight is the fact that, in part two, I'm hoping that we can move into trying to bridge the gap, because the thing with it right now is the mere fact that there's too many that whole saying, hurt people hurt people. That situation that's going on right now is that the fact of the vindictiveness of retaliation, and I'm gonna make you pay, and I'll show you, and everyone is going back and forth, and then the child is in the middle. And the problem with it now, we're not paying attention to the child. And
exactly.
The different things that are going on in that child's life.
And if each parent keep their eye on the child, it will be easier for them to tolerate each other, to, for the benefit of the child. And that's where the focus needs to be.
Gail talked earlier about the Guardian Ad Litem program. So there's a Guardian Ad Litem program that provides advocates for kids, for the best interest of kids. And then there are guardians like me, where I'm appointed by the family court in divorce cases where it's really bad and the kids are getting completely screwed up and are in trouble. And so the court will appoint me to speak for the children, for the best interest of the children in that divorce. I have about, maybe 10, 15, feels like 100 cases right now of just kids who are caught in the middle of the parents' divorce. And I have to speak to the court as to what should happen for those kids. So,
and the ones I deal with are the children of the, who've been abandoned and abused. Their parents are probably on drugs and they're with strangers. And, I get to check in on them on wherever they're staying and make sure that things are good. And I'm able to go back and report to the court, about that.
I want to say thank you to Gail and people like her who volunteer with the program. I used to run the Guardian Ad Litem program in Broward County for years, and I ran it in Jacksonville as well for years. And so I can tell you that volunteers like Gail, and hopefully tonight there's somebody whose heart is going to get touched by this who will go find a local Guardian Ad Litem program and go speak for a child who's been abused.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies.
If it's something we can get involved with also to
men, we absolutely need men.
You don't have to be a lawyer to be a volunteer guardian.
No, you don't. Sign me up.
You just have to be a human being, man. That's it.
And you have to go through the training, of course.
You have to, right? Yes, you definitely have to go through the course. The training.
Okay, well,
you don't have to be a lawyer.
Sign me up. Sign me up. I definitely would love to do that.
Most of these woman, lady, whatever the name out there, man. It's not just about their happiness, man. It's about their happiness. They don't care about the kids.
In general, that woman they out there,
But you know what I think, and this is just my thought.
Kids, it's their happiness or not nothing.
My thought is that the woman, there's a breakdown somewhere in the relationship. In some of the cases, the women feel like the men cheat. And because to the men, it meant nothing to them. And I don't think that men realize how deeply it hurts the woman. And the women go on and are too vindictive about it. And we need to remember the children, because I've had similar situation, but at the end of the day, it was important for me in my personal life to ensure that my child had a relationship with the other parent. Even when that parent left the state, I would drive halfway from that state to this state to bring my child. And I would force them to see each other, the parent and the child. So, most of the people that I deal with, most of the situations are situations I've been in and I can relate to very much, so I'm really involved emotionally and otherwise.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you for all that you do.
Here's something
for the community.
Here's something, and it's just food for thought, real quick. And this is something that you can do your own research on. But I think moving forward in the legal realm, we for lawyers, judges, and everyone, just speaking on what Q was saying. Oh, they don't business mode. They don't only care about. That is some form of this narcissism situation that we're having in the world nowadays, and it does play into a lot of things, and it's intertwined within the court system as well. But the problem with it, it's not recognized, and they bypass it so much that it's not a recognizable situation when it comes to the child support and all these different things that come up when, for instance, like you said, using these kids as a pawn in the situation.
Yeah.
To just because for instance, now if I've seen it personally and I've heard it, a female will punch a guy right in the face, boom, and then the guy said, "Yo, I'm gonna call police." She said, "Go ahead. They're not gonna believe you." When you have certain things set up, and you can get through without any slap on the wrist situations. A lot of times it builds this bravado attitude. And it can spill, and it start to build this avalanche situation of all these different things, because now that individual can tell the next individual how to maneuver about certain things. So the thing with it right now is just for us to start to break down all these barriers and walls and start to dissect certain things. And I know it's difficult in the court system and for you guys in the legal portion of things, because it's too many factors with that. But for us on the outside, we as the clients, future clients, pay attention to all these different things, because all these little domino effects you can avoid in the beginning stages of the thing called a relationship. If you just try and get to know that individual. Yes, you will not get to know a person 100%.
Yeah, you will not.
But I think you will see a couple of red flags early in the situation, and it's time to hit the door. So if you
and try to figure that out before you bring a child into the a child into the relationship, which complicates everything anyway.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I agree, but you understand. I want people to understand. The court system is about enforcing laws, maybe interpreting laws. The court system is not a social service agency, right?
Right.
So it relies on evidence and facts. And if you can't prove something, it didn't happen. Right? So evidence and facts. So people who come to lawyers and expect vindication, we're not about the business of vindication. We're about arguing the law. We're about using the law to protect your rights. That's what we do. We don't fix personality defects.
Right.
But Gayle and I know that part of being a lawyer is being a counselor. So we're counselors as well as lawyers. And I take that seriously, right? So my job is to not just tell you what the law says and show you how to use the law to protect your rights. My job is to give you a reality check, because that's what I am. Exactly. I'm a counselor. I'm an advisor. I am your advisor. Yeah. What really irks me is when people don't tell you the truth. They come in your office and they tie your hands behind your back and expect you to win the case with a lie.
Right.
The only person in the world that knows everything or should know everything there is to know about you is your lawyer.
Exactly.
Because I can't tell people anyway, right? We take an oath to keep your
confidentiality.
Yeah. Unless you tell me you're going to kill somebody, whatever you tell me goes to my grave, right? That's my job. But if you don't tell me the truth and then expect me to, use the law and the facts, which are not true, to help you get what you deserve. So don't tie your lawyers' hands behind their back. Tell them the truth. Be open and honest with them. But as counselors, we are required to give you advice.
Right.
So I give my clients advice about life, not just about the law, because you can't get to the legal problem with all the other stuff in the way.
Right. Yeah.
So you're trying to solve the personality issue, and you're trying to solve the brokenheartedness, and you're trying to solve the anger still because he cheated, and you're trying to solve the anger still because he didn't pay the mortgage, and now we're about to get, So there's a whole lot to unpack before you get to the actual legal problem.
True.
Right.
And so lawyers are counselors as well as they are attorneys.
Right. And for the judges, I think the judges are in a weird predicament. The amount of people that come in front of them each day. And some people are so good at lying. Just your word without having that some kind of hard evidence. It's very difficult for a judge to make a decision without, or know when somebody's lying. If a mother comes and says, he beat me up and, I have my child and he beat the child, the judge, even if the judge believes the father, they have to also sleep at night. I've gone to seminars and because it's like, do we put the child back with that parent? They're in a weird position too, because if it's difficult, if somebody doesn't bring some evidence to help them make a decision, and people, of course, as plaintiffs or defendants, we get upset with the judge because like, how do they not see? But they have people coming in. You're the one who know the facts, and you need to be able to have some kind of evidence, if possible, to help make it easier. Because some people, I'm telling you, I've seen people come in court, and I've actually sat when I was in law school and observed cases, and I'd go on, Judge, you could tell they were lying. He's like, Gayle, I know they're lying. He said, but they have no evidence. What's going to happen? They're going to appeal it, and I'm going to have to rule, So he said, I know. But, what am I, if there's no evidence to prove it, I cannot, so the judge's hands are tied too.
Their hands are tied by the law, the existing law. And here's the thing. When it's he said, she said, who wins? He said, she said, don't win a case, right?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
So help your lawyer to help you.
Right.
Tell us the truth and give us the evidence we need. We'll tell you what evidence we need.
It's true.
And we definitely have to do a part 2.
Yes, because we have to. We have to place ourselves in the position of the other people, the judges, the lawyers, so it's everybody has a role, and everybody, it's difficult, Imagine you're in a position where you're making decision about children and, and so on. And sometimes you have somebody who's giving money to somebody and giving them cash, and they don't have any proof of that child support.
Yeah.
That's true. Hilary, I see you. You got something. You got something on your mind there. I see.
I'm just thrilled that I got to do this tonight. I just feel like there's so much more to unpack, so much to talk about.
Do this again.
You know how long I've been trying to get her? You know how long I've been trying, but I said right time, right place.
And it's a perfect time because this is Women's Month, International Women's Month. So,
it's true.
it's the right time for you to have 2 women lawyers on. Thank
you very much.
I definitely want to thank you guys. Is there all right, so I'm gonna put your information on our site so that anyone that needs legal services, you can come. You have the phone number to the shop. You have my numbers, and go to the Gmail, live at the barbershop podcast at gmail.com. Also, if you want to send a message to any one of us, you can find us on IG as well. Hilary Creary. There it is. Thank you very much tonight. Thank you very much. The community activist, my friend. Okay. And Gayle Sarju, thank you. Also, the community activist. I must say, I'm going to give you guys your flowers. I love you both. Okay, I love you both. That's for me.
Thank you. We love you. We love you guys. Thank you so much.
Community need more people like you in the community to help the community to just pick itself up. Because right now, there's so many dysfunctional situations that's going on, and I hate to see it in the Black community as well, with so many families that are breaking up over foolishness. And again, if it doesn't work in a relationship, that's cool. Go about your business. But be an adult about things, and just meet up in the middle and make sure these kids are okay, because it's a mental strain on them, and they don't deserve it.
Yeah,
because they didn't ask to be in it.
These ladies turn monster too quick, man.
Well, I'm gonna leave that for part 2, because right now you're starting a whole nother thing again. So on that note, IT, let me take me out of this thing here real quick, and let's do this thing.
Ladies, it was so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys.
Hi,
Gayle.
Happy birthday, Miss Aaliyah, when it comes.
Thank you again.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Almost there.
And to all the Black queens on this year, I want to definitely thank all of you guys for just for the good females out here. And I'll say it again. We never want to make it seem like we're bashing anyone.
Yeah.
For every good, there's a bad, male and females. So we'd like to, for all the good queens out here, I compliment you and I tip my hat to you. So the royalty situation, that's you. She's royal. Okay. So I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Once again, you can find us on all the platforms. You can check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Anchor, Amazon Music, Audible, Podcaster, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, and of course, iHeartRadio. Yes, this is Live at the Barbershop every Friday, 9 p.m. I'll see you on the next show. Thank you very much. And once again, this is for everyone.
Stay lawyered up. Stay lawyered up. Always have a lawyer on your speed dial.
This is what I'm saying. You see how the females think? But I'm gonna let you know.
Always gotta have. You have to have your labor lawyer, your family lawyer.
Females are always at work, you know. So I'm gonna tell those guys that's sitting on the couch playing video games, get up.
Lawyer up. Lawyer up.
Yes, get up, go out in the world and be somebody. Get off the couch. Thank you very much. God bless, and everyone be safe.
Thank you.
Go out in the world and be somebody.